السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
السلام عليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
आपका तागा
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نحمد ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. أما بعد. Continuing from where we left off last week on the journey of Al-Isra wal-Miraj. We discussed last week how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had taken that first journey, the Al-Isra, from Mecca to Masjid Al-Aqsa. And today I would like to talk further about it, of how his journey from Masjid Al-Aqsa to the seven heavens, which is known as the Miraj, took place. And as we were discussing, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he reached Masjid Al-Aqsa, he went in and he prayed 2 rak'ah. And he led on the prophets in prayer. Once Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had done this, and he came out of Masjid Al-Aqsa, Jibreel alayhi salam was there. And he brought forward 2 vessels for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he gave them to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said, choose. He said, choose. One of those vessels contained khamr, wine, while the other contained laban, which is milk. So Jibreel alayhi salam said to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, choose between the 2 and choose for your ummah. For whatever you choose will be for your ummah too. Now it is interesting to note that at this point in time, wine was not haram. Wine was not haram. And that's why the choice was given to choose between the 2. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, being the best of men, he chose the milk over the khamr. And Jibreel alayhi salam responded by saying, you have chosen the fitrah, that which is pure. Because if you think about it, milk, where does it come from? It comes directly from the animal in its purest form. While khamr, wine, it is something that is corrupted, it gets fermented, and it literally sticks. That is what wine is all about. So the Prophet ﷺ has chosen that which is pure compared to that which damages the body or which corrupts the body. And Jibreel said, this is for your ummah too. They will be on the purity, they will be on the fitrah. So Rasulullah ﷺ has chosen for us that. And we need to maintain our standards of being pure. Beyond this, Rasulullah ﷺ says that after this, he was raised up. He was taken up with Jibreel alayhi salam. And he says that the doors of the sama opened up for me. The doors of the sama, they opened up for me. And he specifically says that Jibreel alayhi salam literally asked permission for the doors of the sama to open up. There was an angel gatekeeper at the doors from inside them who is calling out to Jibreel alayhi salam, who is it? And Jibreel alayhi salam responds, it is me, it is Jibreel. And the gatekeeper then asks back, anyone with you? And Jibreel then says, yes, I have Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam with me. Then the angel asks, does he have permission? Has he been called for? And the answer from Jibreel alayhi salam is, yes, he has been called for. That's why he's come with me. What this does show is that there are doors to the heaven. And they are locked up. That even Jibreel alayhi salam has to seek permission to get through. Gates of the heaven. So they need to be opened up. And literally when they are asking their permission, they're having a conversation between Jibreel alayhi salam and this angel. It's not like they need a passport or visa to get in, right? It's like these are angels. They're not going to lie. Do I have permission? Yes, you have permission. Only go. That's enough. And this way, for every single one of the heavens, the same thing repeats. The gatekeeper of each of the 7 heavens asks this person, who is it? Jibreel says, it is Jibreel. Who is with you? Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Does he have permission to come in? Yes, he has. The same conversation keeps repeating. Every one of the 7 heavens, one after the other. Now, you need to understand this point. Before I proceed, I want you to understand this part, that there is a difference between the samawat that we are talking about compared to the jannat. Don't get confused between the two. It is because of the literal translation of it that we tend to get confused about it. A lot of books saying heaven, whether it is the samawat or the jannah. But there is a clear difference. These are 2 different words. These are 2 different concepts. Allah Ta'ala, He has said that sabha samawati tibaha. He has created these 7 heavens, these 7 sama, on top of one another, in a layer wise, tibaha, one on top of the other. And according to some of the scholars, everything that we know, the farthest star that we know, all the planets that we know, all the galaxies that we know, all the multiple galaxies that have not even been discovered yet, whatever is there that we can potentially reach is all within the first Isra. It is all within the first Isra. Then the next sama, on top of that another, until the 7th. It is literally mind-boggling how huge, how massive things are. We cannot even imagine how huge this dunya of ours is, beyond which is the first sun. And then we are talking about 6 more things like that. 7 sama. We can not imagine what is there in the rest of the sama. And we will probably never know. Wallahu alam. We will never get to know in this life. So these are the 7 sama that Allah Azza wa Jal has created. These are not the Jannat. The Jannah are the paradise that Allah Azza wa Jal has created as a reward for those who are believers. That is different. This is different. Right? So let's be very clear about that. The Jannah is the reward for the believers at the end. Nobody has entered there yet. We are not going there yet. This is the 7 heavens, meaning the 7 skies, you can say. Samawat. Right? So that's the difference. So back to the story. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and Jibreel alayhi salam enter the first sama. And in the first sama, they come across this tall man. And Jibreel alayhi salam says, this is your father, Adam alayhi salam. Says, say salam to it.
So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says salam. And Adam alayhi salam, he responds back. Marhaban bi iblis salih wa nabi salih. Welcome, O noble son and O noble prophet. And then they went up to the second summer. They went up to the second summer. They keep going up. Jibreel alayhi salam and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. At the second heaven, they meet Isa alayhi salam and Yahya alayhi salam. Both these prophets are there in the second heaven. And these two were actually first cousins. They were sons of two mothers, of two sisters, Yahya and Isa alayhi salam. So they were cousins, they were. So Jibreel alayhi salam said to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, this is Isa and this is Yahya, say salam to them. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says salam. And they respond back, welcome, O noble brother and O noble prophet. Then they reach out to the third heaven, where they meet Yusuf alayhi salam. And then the same conversation happens again. This is Yusuf, introductions happen, salam happens. Yusuf alayhi salam responds back, welcome, O noble brother and O noble prophet. And at this point, when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is narrating this story, this is the only time that he's seen Yusuf alayhi salam. He says, when I saw Yusuf alayhi salam, it was as if half the beauty of the world was given to her. It was as if half the beauty of the world was given to Yusuf alayhi salam. So, Jibreel alayhi salam and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam keep going further up. They reach up to the fourth heaven. There they meet Idris alayhi salam. Again the same introduction. The welcome, O my noble brother, and welcome, O noble prophet. They go up to the sixth heaven. There they meet, the fifth heaven. And there they meet Harun alayhi salam. Again the same welcoming. Welcome, O noble brother, O noble prophet. Sixth heaven. And they meet Musa alayhi salam. Musa alayhi salam, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam described Musa alayhi salam as someone who was tall, muscular, stout, firm in that sense. And Musa alayhi salam, the introduction happened. And Musa alayhi salam said, welcome, O noble brother and noble prophet. And then he started crying. He started crying. And when asked, Musa alayhi salam said, why I cry? When he was asked why I cry, Musa alayhi salam said, I am crying because this young man, pointing to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, this young man who was sent after me, we have a larger gathering of followers who will enter Jannah before my ummah. Musa alayhi salam is crying about this. That this young man, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's ummah, meaning us, inshallah, will be entering the Jannah before the ummah of Musa alayhi salam. And he's crying about that. He is jealous in a way, right? But this is halal jealous, right? This is with regards to reward in the sunnahs, right? In doing more prayers, you can be jealous of somebody. You can be jealous of somebody, they are doing putkara. You want to try and beat them, right? Good. That's allowed. So then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Jibreel alayhi salam, they went up to the seventh heaven. Again, the same question between the angel gatekeeper and Jibreel alayhi salam to get the entry into it. They get the entry. And then they meet Ibrahim alayhi salam. And Ibrahim alayhi salam, he is there in the seventh heaven, sitting with his back to the Baytul Ma'mur. Baytul Ma'mur, the Kaaba in the heavens. And as it is described, it is the Kaaba of the heavens, and it is in such a position that if it was to be dropped straight down, it would come and fall on the Kaaba of this earth. So the man, Ibrahim alayhi salam, who built the Kaaba of this earth, he is up there, sitting with his back to the Kaaba of the heavens. Baytul Ma'mur. Subhanallah. Look at the Lord's. And Jibreel alayhi salam again introduces him. This is your father Ibrahim. Say salam. And Ibrahim alayhi salam, like Adam alayhi salam in the first heaven, he responds, welcome, O noble son and O noble prophet. So the first and the seventh heaven, he is being welcomed by his fathers in a sense. They say, welcome, O noble son and O noble prophet. While between from the second to the sixth heaven, he gets welcomed as a brother. Welcome, O noble brother and O noble prophet. Now, there seems to be some kind of hikmah as per the scholars of why these specific prophets were there for this welcoming. Why not others? And why this order of greeting of the prophets? So the scholars, of course, they think through it and try to devise why is there a particular reason for it. So they say there is some hikmah. They say Adam alayhi salam being in the first heaven is because he is the father of mankind. He is the first man. So it was a given that he would be the first one to be come into the heavens, Ezra. Yahya and Isa in the second heavens, they were the last prophets that came to this dunya before Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So from that perspective, they had seen the first and the last, right? Then you have in the third heaven Yusuf alayhi salam. Now Yusuf alayhi salam, if you know his stories, he was someone who was tried to be killed by his own brothers, own blood brothers. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is being given that indication that when you are on this path, you will face difficulties. Just like Yusuf alayhi salam. You will face difficulties. And then is also an indication that like Yusuf alayhi salam, inshallah, you will also be successful at the end of time. And here we have it. He has delivered his message. He is seeing the fruits of it now. A huge ummah behind Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In the next heaven, in the fourth, we saw Idris alayhi salam. Now Idris alayhi salam, there is not much of a mention about it in the Quran. When Allah Azza wa Jalla, He says that Idris is in a high place. That is his only description in the Quran. So being in the fourth heaven is a high place enough. So that's the understanding from that, what the scholars say. Then Harun alayhi salam in the sixth heaven. Again, someone who was despised by his people before being accepted. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam again despised by the Quraysh, did not want to follow him, but at the caucus of Makkah, they all fall in line. All of Arabia falls in line, right? So many people fall in line. Since heaven, Musa alayhi salam, and as Musa alayhi salam stories are known again, he was also someone who faced a lot of difficulties. And what is interesting is Musa alayhi salam being in the sixth heaven, he is a prophet who had the largest ummah after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So on the day of judgment as well, after the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the second largest ummah will be of Musa alayhi salam. That Ibrahim alayhi salam, right? It was an obvious choice. There are only two close friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are only two friends that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken. Close friends. He has given them the title of being Khalil Allah. And those two are Ibrahim alayhi salam and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So it was an obvious choice that he is the closest there. And as I said, Adam alayhi salam is in the first sama, not in the first Jannah. Right? All the prophets, they are the best of people. All of them are going to be in the highest level of Jannah. Jannah to Firdaus. But only for this welcoming party, welcoming of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam into the heavens, they have been placed at these levels for his welcoming. So I hope that is clear. Now, there were some other discussions between the prophets and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But we'll, for the purpose of this today's talk, we'll not get into that. What is also known is on this journey of Al-Isra wal-Miraj, at some point, either while going up or while coming down, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also met Malik. Malik is the gatekeeper of hell. And when Malik was introduced by Jibreel alayhi salam to Rasulullah, Malik did not smile. And then Jibreel alayhi salam told Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Malik has not smiled since the day he was created, because that is the day when he saw Jahannam, of which he is will take care of. But if Malik was to smile, it would have been you. So this shows to you what is Jahannam, what kind of punishment awaits the evildoers, what kind of punishment we have been warned about, what kind of place we are supposed to be away from, that even the angel who takes care of it has never ever smiled since he was created. Something to ponder over, my dear brothers and sisters. So beyond this welcome, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was again raised up with Jibreel alayhi salam in the seventh heaven until he came to the Sidratul Muntaha. And that is the highest thing that has been created. The Sidratul Muntaha. The Sidra is a tree found in the deserts, which is known for its large branches, fruit trees. The fruits are very huge and tasty, and it has a particular kind of good smell. It has a good scent. Sidratul Muntaha. Muntaha meaning the ending, right? So the Sidra at the end. Sidratul Muntaha. Right at the end. Nothing beyond that. This right up there. Its branches are touching the top. And beyond that, there is no living creature. There is no living creature, something that is created. Beyond that is only the throne of Allah and the Khaliq of Allah Azza wa Jal. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam describes this Sidratul Muntaha as something amazing, spectacular. He says he saw colors that he could have never imagined. So it shows to you that there are colors beyond the spectrum that our minds can imagine. And he says there were gold butterflies flying around the Sidratul Muntaha. Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah says that the bark of Sidratul Muntaha, it starts in the seventh heaven. And its branches keep going up beyond that next heaven, beyond that next sky, and it touches the top of the seventh heaven. So we can barely imagine how huge that must be. We cannot. So don't even try. And at the base of this Sidratul Muntaha, 4 rivers were coming out. 2 that were apparent and 2 that were hidden. So Rasulullah asked Jibreel alayhi salam, what are these 4 rivers? And he was told by Jibreel alayhi salam, the 2 that are hidden, they are in Jannah. And the name of those 2 rivers is Al-Kawthar, in A'taynak Al-Kawthar, and Salsabil. While the 2 apparent ones which are open, Jibreel alayhi salam said those 2 rivers are River Nile and the Euphrates. So River Nile and River Euphrates are coming directly from the Sidratul Muntaha to this earth. So those 2 are actually blessed rivers. You should understand this part. And after seeing this, the Sidratul Muntaha, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw Jibreel alayhi salam in his original form, with his 600 wings. Rasulullah saw Jibreel alayhi salam in his original form, covering the whole horizon. Everything covered. How huge is Jibreel alayhi salam? So Allah Azza wa Jal showed Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam huge signs, 3 massive signs, 3 creations that are unlike any creation at all. The Bayt al-Ma'mur, the Sidratul Muntaha,
and Jibreel alayhi salam. Amazing creations of Allah. Min ayati rabbihil kubra, from the biggest of signs. And beyond this, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked to go up by himself. Jibreel alayhi salam cannot go beyond the Sidratul Muntaha. And as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, I was raised up, and he speaks in the singular now, I alone, no Jibreel alayhi salam. I was raised up by whatever Allah will. And he went up for that divine appointment, that divine meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What was the conversation between Allah and Rasulullah? We don't know much of it. We have not been told. It is again ilm, knowledge that is only between Allah and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The one and only thing we know out of it is that 50 salah were asked to be prayed by the Ummah. And as you know that remaining story, and not that on it much, where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought down the 50 salah, and he came down to the 6th heaven, where Musa alayhi salam said, I have seen enough of this world. Your Ummah cannot pray this. Go and get them reduced. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam goes back up, gets them reduced, comes back. And this constant thing happens until it gets reduced to 5 prayers. And then Musa alayhi salam again says, this is also too much for your Ummah. Get it reduced further. But at this point, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, I am too embarrassed to go back. And as soon as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that he is too embarrassed to go there, a voice comes out saying that this has been established. Your Ummah will be praying 5, but will be rewarded as 50. The value of the prayers, my dear brothers and sisters, salah, it is the only order for which the Prophet ﷺ was taken up to be given. Let us value this salah. Let us understand how important this is. And he brought this salah down with him, and he was brought down to Masjid al-Aqsa again, from where he came back to Makkah. So you've run out of time, so inshallah we will talk further about it at some other stage. But the important bit is that this massive, miraculous night that was there, the learnings from it is important. The salah, why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have to have this miraculous night to give us this salah? Understand its importance, my dear brothers and sisters. Ramadan is coming out. For those of us who are not used to praying even the 5 salah, let us get into that habit again. Let us build it again. Let us come back on track to the righteous path. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us in that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us in reaching this Ramadan and perform it to our best ability in it. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.